This episode is brought to you by Mortgage Workflow Partners and the Mastering Encompass series, both for users as well as administrators. You can find out all the information about it over at masteringencompass.com. Also, if you'd like to check out what we're doing on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel using the @MasteringEncompass handle. And make sure you stay up to date on all the information, not just with podcasts, but also video content that we bring to you as often as possible. Now let's get on to the episode. Hey everyone, Larry Bailey here with Mortgage Workflow Partners, bringing you another weekly update with regards to what happened in the market last week. Today is September 30th, 2024, and we're going to go through what happened in the market during the week of September 23rd, 2024. And I wanted to say thanks very much to everybody for supporting everything we're doing at Mortgage Workflow Partners. If you're using the Encompass platform and you really want to understand how to maximize your workflow with native functionality, save money, save time, head over to mortgageworkflowpartners.com and set up a conversation. Let's get going. Here's what's happening in the newsletter. Again, this is for the week of September 30th, 2024, where we're going to go through the 23rd, what happened the week of September 23rd. Consumer inflation, it continues to moderate while home prices hit another record high. We've got some housing market activity as it's slowing, which is on the heels of lower mortgage rates. Read all of these stories with me on screen because some folks have been saying they'd love to see it back on screen. So here we go. If you're listening to this on podcast, head over to our Mastering Encompass YouTube channel or head over to mortgage.community and see this for yourself. So the first story we're going to go through is consumer inflation trending in the right direction. The next story is August new home sales beat estimates. The next story is pending home sales tick higher. The next story is another record high for home prices. I don't think we're going to see the end of that for some time. And the next story is U.S. economy grew by 3% in the second quarter. Last but not least, following up with continuing jobless claims suggesting that there's a slower pace of hiring. So on screen, you'll see this nice image with a consumer inflation trending in the right direction. This is all about the personal consumption's expenditures. That's the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. And so when we come in here and we're talking about what happens year over year, what we're talking about here is the August's PCE number, that's personal consumption expenditures, that showed that the headline inflation reading rose 0.1% from July, while the year-over-year reading fell from 2.5 to 2.2%. The core PCE, which again is the Fed's favored measure of inflation, that strips out the volatile food and energy prices. That also rose 0.1% for the month, and the year-over-year reading for that ticked higher from 2.6 to 2.7%, remaining near the lowest level in 3 years. Bottom line with this story is, of course, is the trend of the monthly core PCE readings have been favorable and also in line with what the Fed's been looking for. Remember, the Fed's always looking for the 2% target. And in fact, we annualized the last 4 months of readings, and guess what, gang? The core PCE reading would actually be 1.7%, 1.77 to be exact. So we also saw some shelter costs remaining the largest contributor to that inflation number, and while they're still overstated due to the lagging effect, inflation would even be lower if more real-time shelter costs were better reflected in this reporting. So August new home sales, yep, they beat estimates, go figure. And the new home sales, which measures signed contracts of new homes, declined 4.7% from July to August, although 716,000 unit pace was above forecasts and was the third highest level of this year. Plus, sales in July were also revised higher to 751,000 per unit pace per year, which is the highest level since 2024 so far. Bottom line in this story is the decline in mortgage rates, of course, this summer has clearly led to an increase in activity among buyers. However, more quote-unquote available supply, which is the completed homes ready for buyers to actually move into, that's needed to meet more buyer demand. So of the 467,000 new homes available for sale at the end of August, it's crazy. Only 105,000 were actually completed. So the rest were either under construction or maybe even not even started yet. Yikes. Also, the median home price of $420,600 marked a 2.9% drop from July. But this was not due to falling home prices, which continue to rise nationwide, as noted in the next story. The median home price, remember, represents the mid price of sales. So Since we saw a larger mix of lower end or lower priced homes sell in August, the median home price fell comparatively. So prices aren't dropping. It's just this median home price, again, is a math problem. This next story of pending home sales ticking higher, check this out. You'll see it on screen. You can see this graph. So the pending home sales, which are signed contracts on existing homes, that rose 0.6% from July to August per the National Association of Realtors. That's the NAR. That rebounded from their lowest level this year. However, sales remain 3% lower than they were a year earlier. So all this stuff really means is signed contracts on existing homes are starting to pick up, but we've not seen the full impact of lower rates, right? And so compared to contract activity, it takes time to be able to find a home, negotiate, eventually sign that contract. NAR's chief economist, Lawrence Yun, added that the slight move higher in activity, quote, reflects a modest improvement in housing affordability, close quote. We'll see, Lawrence. We'll see. Here's the next story, another record high for home prices, and this information comes in this story from the Case-Shiller Index. The Case-Shiller Home Price Index, which is considered the, quote, gold standard for appreciation, showed home prices nationwide rose 0.2% from June to July after seasonal adjusting. And this broke the previous month's all-time high. Home values in July were also 5% higher than a year earlier, following a 5.5% gain in June. It's just these things are just popping. Case-Shiller's 10-city was up 6.8% year over year, and the 20-city index is 5.9% year over year. That showed even higher growth in nationwide figures, of course, because things are consolidated, showing big cities are outperforming the rest of the nation. Outperforming means going up higher, which is not necessarily the kind of performance you're looking for if you're trying to buy these things. In addition, lower price homes appreciated at a faster rate than the overall market, which makes sense as there is a greater demand for lower end of the market. I love lower price homes. We need more of those guys, honestly. The Federal Housing Finance Agencies, it's the FHFA, that house price index also showed that home prices rose 0.1% from June to July, and they were 4.5% higher when compared to the same time last year. Note that the FHFA's data does not include cash buyers, of course, jumbo loans, only loans financed with conforming loan limit mortgages. These factors account for some of the differences in the two reports. The bottom line here, gang, is the S&P DJI's head of commodities, Brian D. Luke, explained, quote, accounting for seasonality of home purchases, we have witnessed 14 consecutive record highs in our national index, close quote. Despite the negative media, national home prices continue to move higher. And they also provide a significant wealth creation opportunity on paper. Until you sell it, you don't actually get the paid. So I do want to remind you that FHFA does finance homes where loan amounts are over $1 million. So don't think FHFA is just like a couple $100,000. It goes up really high. All right, next story. U.S. economy grew by 3% in the second quarter. So the final reading, remember, there's 3 readings to every GDP, initial, revised, and final. So the final reading for the second quarter GDP showed that the U.S. economy grew by 3%. That's per the Economic Bureau of Economic Analysis. This was in line with the estimates and much stronger than the pace we've seen in the first quarter, which was eventually revised higher from 1.4 to 1.6%. Bottom line here is economic activity was better than expected in the second quarter, due in part to increases in consumer spending, private inventory investment, and business investment. As of now, expectations are that economic growth in the third quarter of this year will remain around 3% as well. We'll see. Here we go. Continuing jobless claims suggest slower pace of hiring. Initial jobless claims fell by 4,000 in the latest week, with 218,000 people filing for unemployment benefits for the first time. Continuing claims rose by 13,000, as 1.834 million people are still receiving benefits after filing their initial claim. Bottom line here is initial jobless claims remain tame, showing that employers are reluctant to let their employees go. At the same time, continuing claims have now topped 1.8 million for 16 straight weeks, remaining near highs from November 2021, suggesting that employers also slowed down their pace of hiring. If you're interested in Family Hack of the Week, get through here, check out the video, get down to this spot in the audio, and you'll see the video for Family Hack of the Week. It's all about National Pumpkin Spice Day. If that's your thing, check out this recipe from courtesy of All Recipes. Thank you. Here's what we're looking for this week. Labor sector will take center stage, of course, with updates on job openings. Tuesday, private payrolls. Wednesday, unemployment claims. Thursday, And non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate are coming out Friday. We see up here that the 10-year Treasury is still around 3.70%, and the 30-year mortgage-backed security is actually doing really well right now. So hopefully that means mortgage rates are going to be doing well as well. My name is Larry Bailey. Thanks for watching, and thank you for subscribing, liking our channel, and we'll catch you on the next market news update. See you there. Bye-bye.